Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys are having an amazing day so far. If you're new here, my name is Samantha. I studied at Sam Houston State University and I got my bachelor's degree in criminal justice, and that's actually what we're going to be talking about today is my criminal justice degree. I did post one other video about being a criminal justice major and wanting to go to law school. I will insert that video right here on a card for you guys to click on it, and then you can watch that. I break down my degree and explain basically every class that I took. You can watch that as a reference to this video. So I'm just gonna jump right into it. I got a bachelor's degree in criminal justice and a legal studies minor. So a legal studies minor is essentially just a pre-law minor, which is just pre-law school. And so I'm just going to talk about the classes that I did take for my major and my minor. So a bachelor's degree, or at least my bachelor's degree, took 120 hours, and I know that a lot of degrees requires 120 hours to get your degree, and I know other degrees take more and other degrees take less. I had to take 43 hours of core curriculum classes, and each class besides the science are 3 hours long. Okay, so I'm just going to jump right into just the criminal justice section of this video, just because I know you guys don't really care too much about the core curriculum classes, which are just your basic classes. Those are the classes that you take your freshman and your sophomore year. So I'm just going to dive right in to the actual degree. For my major core, that requires 24 hours out of the 120 hours of the degree. So I took Intro to Criminal Justice, Criminology, I took Criminal Law, Correctional Systems and Practice, Police Systems and Practice, Intro to Methods of Research, I took Criminal Justice and Social Diversity, I took Victimology, I took Terrorism, I took Gender and Crime, I took Police Supervision, Police Management and Supervision, and then I also took Offender Rehabilitation, I also took Law and Evidence, and I took the Juvenile Justice System. So those are all of the classes that I took for my major, and I could break down those classes if you guys would want a very detailed video. I can do that for you guys, but I'll briefly just talk about these classes, just not in depth. So my Intro to Criminal Justice Systems class is just one of the very first classes that you're going to take. It's just an intro to what criminal justice is. And then the next class is Criminology. I took that, and then criminal law was honestly one of my favorite classes. I got to learn about the Texas Penal Code, and that is a class that actually made me decide that I wanted to go, or that I want to go to law school. I took Correctional Systems and Practice, which is just like the criminal justice, like correctional systems, so like prisons, jails, all that good stuff. And then I took Police Systems and Practice, which is just dives into the police systems world here in America, just policing and things like that. And then Intro to Methods of Research is just a research class specifically designed for criminal justice, and it just shows you how to do research, how to take your data. That I honestly didn't really enjoy that class just because data and research isn't my cup of tea, but I got an A in the class, so we're all good. So I took Criminal Justice and Social Diversity. This is your class where you talk about gender roles and just different societies in America and how the criminal justice system plays a role in what type of society that you live in. And then I took Victimology, which just talks about the victims in the criminal justice system. So a lot of people just tend to believe that criminal justice focus mainly on the offenders, but really we also focus on the victims, because the victims also play a key role in this criminal justice system because they're the ones who have been victimized, if that makes sense. So obviously they're just as important. And then I took Terrorism, which terrorism we just talked about different terrorist groups across the world and how they can affect America and so many things like that. That was an awesome class. I really did enjoy it. And then we took I took Gender and Crime, and so that kind of ties into the criminal justice and social diversity area, but it's just gender and crime. It's just like women and males and the differences between just offenses and honestly anything you can think of related to criminal justice system. It's just breaking that down between male and female and just visualizing the data and just seeing all of that. It's so hard to explain, but it really just dives into both sexes and just adding criminal justice in there. And then I took police management and supervision, which was a class specifically meant for police management. So you're not just looking at the police system as a whole, but you're looking at it as a whole in the sense of a management area, if that makes sense. So if I was the lieutenant of a certain police department, that is kind of what that class went over, was just like leadership and just so many, it just dived really deep into management and supervision of policing. And then I took offender rehabilitation, which is just attempting to get offenders back into the real world, and you just talk so much about all of their tactics and just so many ways that we as individuals can help offenders go back into the real world, because although offenders do commit their own crime, they obviously eventually, some of them get out of prison, and so they have to go back into the real world, and for a lot of them it is really hard to adjust. So for this class, for offender rehabilitation, we just talked about the different ways that offenders can go back into the real world, and then just different tactics and things that they use in jails and prisons to prepare these offenders to go back into the real world. So that was a really interesting class. I really enjoyed that class. And then I took law and evidence. That was a lot of fun. It was just law and evidence, things that you can bring into court, just anything that you can think of that is like evidence. It was just law and evidence and how those two connect. So that was a really interesting class. And then I took the juvenile justice system. This class, I am not really huge into juveniles or juvenile offenders, but it was really interesting to get to learn about juveniles and just how a lot of people start off, especially offenders, a lot of people start off in the juvenile justice system and eventually lead up to just the criminal justice system in an adult way. And so we just got to learn about juveniles and how certain things impact their life. So the way that they live, their parents, how they're raised, just things like that. And the juvenile justice system just tries its best to help these individuals because they're children, and so they try their best to just help them so that they don't grow up being in the criminal justice system. For my legal studies minor, I only had to do 18 hours of this. And so for those classes, I took Constitutional Law 1 and Constitutional Law 2. So my legal studies minor is just my pre-law minor. This kind of dives into more of the law school aspect of being in, like, the law school aspect of classes. Con Law 1 was just civil rights and liberties, and then Con Law 2 was just like presidential power, federal power. Then I had to take a law-related skills course, so I picked critical thinking for that. And then I had to do just I had to do 9 hours, which is 3 different classes in different areas of this degree. I took business law, judicial systems, and psychology and the law. I really enjoyed business law. Judicial systems, not so much. That class, I don't know what it is about the government. I did not enjoy taking judicial systems. It just wasn't for me. And then psychology and the law was really interesting. So those are all of the classes that I took in my criminal justice degree plan. A lot of people ask me if I would recommend the criminal justice degree to other people, and I honestly would say it just depends on who you are as a person. I know that I have wanted to be a criminal justice major since I was like a freshman in high school, and I stuck it all the way through, and I stuck it throughout college, throughout my degree, and I don't regret it at all. I actually really did enjoy the class, or the classes, and the degree as a whole, and I just believe that if you're interested in criminal justice, I would highly recommend this major. But if you want to do something different, more so like law school, I would suggest picking a different degree. For example, I know that if you want to go to law school, political science is the best degree to get to go to law school. I heard that political science just really prepares you for that, but I do feel as if some of the classes that I've taken have prepared me for law school, such as criminal law, evidence in the law, business law, con law 1 and con law 2. In law school, you go over a bunch of cases and you brief the cases, and you basically just figure out how that case made a precedent in America. There are a lot of cases that have created precedent, and that is how certain cases today are decided on, just because of previous cases. So in law school, that's a lot of what you do. 99% of what you do is just read cases and brief them and do just law reviews and things like that. Law reviews are not my favorite because they're super long, but you get to learn so much from them. And so I personally feel like I gained a lot of knowledge that will prepare me for law school in the future. I know that a lot of you guys have been asking me what I want to do with my major, and I want to do a completely separate video just because this video right now is already really long. So I'm gonna make a separate video on what my future plans are, what my career plans are now that I have graduated college. If you guys have any questions about my degree or any core classes that I took, or an in-depth video of classes that I have taken for my degree, leave your questions down below and I will be happy to answer them or make a second video. So I know this video is really long, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, and if you're new, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. So thank you guys so much for watching today's video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.